As some of you may already know, I injured my hamstring a few days ago. Last was Wednesday, actually, so I guess that was about 4 or 5 days ago. I was doing some sprinting, and first of all, well, let's look at some of the running that I was doing, the sprinting. And then the last sprint I had, um, I was maybe leaning forward a bit too much, lost my balance. Potentially, there's a little bit of a hole divot in the ground, lost my balance and fell to the ground.
All right, Brian, are you ready?
Yeah.
On your mark, get set, go. Good job, good job. Push, push, push.
So when I fell to the ground, I injured my hamstring. And as you can see from the picture here, there's quite a bit of bruising right now. I it's a torn hamstring. It's a pretty significant tear, and probably looking around a month or so of recovery is what they typically say for something like this. So that's probably what I'm looking at here. Now, I'm sorry about the lighting, the background, very dark here. And of course, I have on a gray shirt, which actually looks black, but it's gray because there's just not very good lighting where I'm at. So I'll apologize for that. But I wanted to give you a bit of an update here about how things are going. um, so it is Sunday evening, and this will be coming out tomorrow morning. So on Monday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is really about 4 days after the injury here. And I probably need to rest it more than what I have been. So I'm going to try and get better at resting it. I've been trying to sit in a recliner as much as I can, try and elevate it a little bit, that kind of stuff, get some ice on it. Um, but anyway, I've been doing probably up and down steps a few times a day, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a day, and some minor walking here and there. So I'm gonna, and I think that might be causing some issues with trying to heal it. And I don't want to make the tear any worse, which is a possible thing. So I am going to be using crutches I have here from my son had a football injury several years ago with his knee that he had crutches for a few weeks. So I got these crutches. He's pretty much the same height as me. So I'm going to use these crutches to try and get around more and not walk on it like how I have been. I do have a compression sleeve over my hamstring. That helps. I use that at least when I'm moving around, walking, that type of thing. But I am going to try and use the crutches instead of doing too much walking. And I'm going to try not to go up and down the steps as much. Um, you know, going to bed at night, I obviously have to use the steps. I tend to go downstairs in the basement a lot too, so I have steps there. So if I do, maybe I can try and use the crutches a bit, so I'm not putting as much pressure on those muscles in the hamstring. So I'm going to try and do that a little bit more and try and help to uh, get the healing process going a little bit better. You know, outside of that, I am able to work from home, so I'm going to work from home for the next couple of weeks. I have to talk to my boss a little bit about that. Maybe after a couple of weeks, I might have to go in the office for a couple of days a week, like normal, and might just use my crutches because I think typically they say at least a month. So they say somewhere around 4 to 8 weeks of recovery before you're walking pretty much normally on that foot, able to go up and down steps again without pain, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully it won't be quite as long, but if it is, I can go into the office after a few weeks and use my crutches and so forth. And right now I'm sitting on a recliner a lot and having my legs up, especially that leg, and that's not going to be something I can do when I go into the office. So I have to sit in a chair. And with a hamstring injury, if you've ever had even just a normal pulled hamstring, you know that sitting in a chair can kind of be painful. It's hard to do it for a long period of time, sitting straight up, properly like you should. So we'll have to see how that goes. But anyway, with all this, carnivore is going to be very, very important for me. I need to stay very strict, clean carnivore because I don't need to add any additional inflammation to my body right now because I've already inflamed because of this hamstring injury. So it's going to be very important. I'm going to try and stick mostly with just beef and then a little bit of my ferments that I do. And that's going to be pretty much it. Done pretty well the last couple of days with that, either burger patties, out of ground beef, steak, that kind of stuff. Maybe a couple of hot dogs here and there, but for the most part, and they were beef hot dogs, but for the most part, it was, like the ground beef, burger patties, or steak. And that's pretty much what I'm going to stick with. A little bit of kefir and some yogurt or some kind of cheese also for my ferments. The stuff with the live active cultures to keep the probiotics going for my gut health, because that's key as well. So those are the types of things that I'm doing here and trying to stay on track with everything there. So it's Monday. I will keep updating you on how I'm doing here. I will probably try and start putting out other videos that I normally would put out where I just talk about different topics on carnivore. And Wednesday evening, I do plan on having the next live stream with Johnny from the Carnivore Champion. We have to figure out a topic yet still for this week, but we're going to figure out a topic, and that'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. So hope to see you all then.